Do the labs tab next. So the lab that shows up when you go into the tab is the most recently completed lab. There may be others that have been done on that same day, but you still have to kind of click back previous through it. If you go to oldest, then that'll be the lab that was the first one that the patient had in the system. Typically with the lab tab, what people find to be the most helpful is either this select test by date, where say you're trying to trend something like a CBC or something like that. You could put CBC in and add it. I don't know how many this test patient has ever had, but if I go to the top, I can select, if I just want to see them from today or within the last 6 months, or if I do all results, I can see all of them, and then I can kind of compare them that way without all the clicking. Also, this all tests by date, if I want to see, say, just today's lab results, I can click on today. If I want to see all that have been done within the last 30 days, I can click on 1 month. Again, you can do that up to 2 years or all results. You can also graph on this tab. You just pick your selection, and then it'll graph it from there. Typically though, the most helpful is this all test by date and select test by date. If you're looking up any anatomic pathology, you would open this little arrow here, and then you could see those as they're listed underneath. The test patients don't have a whole lot of labs, so. And the reports tab at the bottom is our last one. So this one is really all kinds of data in the EHR that's compiled within these reports. So they open if you click on the little arrows. And then there are tons of them within here. You just kind of have to play with what you want to look at. But some of the most helpful ones probably are going to be this imaging one that's right underneath the Department of Defense. So this is if a patient had any images done recently, that would show there. Or this arrow next to health summary. If we open up that one and go down, there's tons of them. This immunizations one is typically the one that people will look at all the patient's immunizations here. Again, there's tons and tons of helpful ones, so you just kind of have to play with it. And then I just want to backtrack just for a sec. So under Notes tab here, if you see this piece here that looks like a sunny day at the beach, so that means that there is a document that is attached to that note. So I think this one is probably, so this one, it's telling us this is that IMED consent that we did this morning. So to see that, we could actually view it. We go to Tools, More, and then to Vista Imaging Display. It takes a second to load, might make us put in a password. There we go. Was hiding. Okay. So then if we double click on this, it's going to show us that IMED consent that we did this morning for the blood transfusion for this patient. Also, like any outside medical records, that kind of item, if you see that little beach symbol, it means that they're attached to a note, and you can always go in and review them. I'm just going to minimize this. Something else that I think might be helpful for you is if you go to view, and I know when Angelo and Rhonda were talking, they had kind of talked about looking at notes either by author or date range. This is another one that people find helpful, is the search for text. So if you click on that, say you have your patient and you want to see if they have any like psychology notes. You could just type in PSY or just the root. We could also do this for cardiology, pulmonology, anything like that, and say okay. And then it's going to quickly search through all their notes and just bring up the notes that are pertinent to that root. So then it'll highlight, it'll show us why it brought it into there, but and then these are all that have that root. And then I just want to show you real quick for tools. So I know we've been in this menu a few times already today, but there's a lot in here. So for you, you might be using mental health assistant some. It can be found in tools. Also, they showed you where that note entered an error is in here. For our primary care staff, there's the after visit summary. Our ED staff use the EDIS board that's in here. Some of our ancillary staff that need to get credit for their time use event capture that's in here. There's Move, there's Logic here. The secure messaging, so My Healthy Vet, you can access it through here up to date if you are trying to do any research or you want to give a patient some information. You can look some of that up and up to date. And then also like the Veterans Health Library is good. There's just a lot of information in here as well. And then for those customizations from earlier, if you go to options, that's where you found all that information. Okay.